So Kai, my name is Roger Fragua. I'm from the Pueblo of Jemez, which is located just south of the Bodhi Zen Center and south of where Hosen has spent nearly 40 years or half of her life. And I think I can speak to my interactions um, with Hosen and the Bodhi in the center, but I think we have to go back further in time than that. I think we have to look at my DNA. My DNA, which has been here since the beginning of time, we all know, and maybe we don't know. We make the assumption that we all know the Pueblo of Jemez and our migration story, our emergence story since the beginning of time. That when we came into this world through the Four Corners area, and then our migration story from Crow Canyon all the way down to present day Walatoa. Walatoa this is the place. When we were coming from the high country of the Four Corners and Redondo and other very high points looking down where these river systems and these water systems meet, we knew our DNA, our ancestors, our forefathers knew that this was a very important place. So I think we have to go back to my DNA and just say that our DNA has been in coexistence because I think if we take the genesis and the beginnings of Hosen and her DNA, this is not new. We have been here before, and we hope to continue to be here long after we are no longer here. Our DNA will continue to be here. So I think that if you take it in that context and we go back that far, I think that's how far back we go. And I think that our coexistence with Hosen and the center, people who are not from here, and we both live, the Pueblo of Jemez and the Zen Center, we both live, Hosen and Roger, we both live on Highway 4. And it's the road and the gateway to the 13th National Recreation Area in these United States. The big neon signs. And Hosen was here long before the neon signs. We were here long before the neon signs. So if you go back to her genesis of being here in this valley, there was no neon signs. There was no national much of anything. It was a sleepy little 2-lane highway. And she has seen the evolution of the development and the advertising and the welcoming of the world to the 13th National Recreation Area. And we still try to live and coexist in these very sacred places. And she adds so much to the sacredness of this valley, and she adds so much to the sacredness of our community and our sacred places. She is a warrior woman, a protector of those sacred places. She is a warrior woman and protector of the ceremony, of the customs and the traditions that have existed here since the beginning of time. So when people come here to this valley, they look up and it's first struck by its scenic beauty, and that's what makes it the 13th National Recreation Area in the United States. Is no question its scenic beauty, comparing to Montana and Wyoming and other national parks. So there's no question or disputing the scenic beauty. But I think that the visitors come here and they recognize and they can feel something that they can't see. So with their 5 senses, they sense something that is beyond their visual or their hearing. So their other senses are at play and at work. And I think the visitors, they sense something that is very strong. And some describe it to me as a magnet. Some describe it to me as something that they can't describe. They just can't describe what this is. But I think Hosen and we both know exactly what it is. It's those ancestors, it's those unseen entities, it's those unseen generations that are still here, that are still existing. And I think that Hosen's great acknowledgement and great respect as a cohabiter of this amazing valley, that she takes that position in that place with great dignity, with great honor and great respect. She conducts herself in that way. And you start thinking about 40 years. Well, you know, it's easy to try and summarize in 40 years. Wow, that's a long time. It's half of somebody's entire existence. But I think that Hosen gets up every morning before the sun rises and greets the spirit world and acknowledges that spirit world that is so important. And I think with that, she begins her every day like that, very with a lot of dignity and respect and honor of the winged, the finned, the four-legged, those unseen ancestors, those rocks, those trees to give us oxygen and give us breath. And I think that she conducts herself in just an amazing way and just gets up daily and does that as a way of her life. I mean, it's not like it's a religious practice. It's not like it's a ceremony. I think it's just her way of life. And I think with that, then she becomes an iconic example of how we should all live. So for me, sitting here and acknowledging Hosen and her coexistence with us, acknowledging the winged, the fin, the four-legged, the ancestors, those living and non-living beings that are here. It's amazing to be able to be here in honor and in awe of her. She inspires me. She inspires others to look with compassion, to look with dignity and respect of everything around us. And she leads with a great example. She's very humble in her leadership. I've never heard her say, I am anything. I am a leader. I am a teacher. I am a provider. I am a resource. She is all those things and more, but I've never heard her say, I am anything. She just very humbly goes about her day and very unassumingly behaves in such an awe-inspiring way that's really hard to follow. I've been talking about the the COVID world that we're living in. And, it's hard to describe the racism, the social, environmental, economic, spiritual unrest and challenge that we're living right this moment. And I think to find places that no money, no place, nothing can buy that peace and that peace of mind, I think the Hosens and the Pueblo of Jemez and those places become bright lights in very dim times. And I think that that doesn't happen by accident. It happens and gets built slowly, a day at a time, a minute at time, you know. And you can't take 40 years and say, oh, wow, 40 years, and talk about it as if it's just, say it in a quick sentence like that. No, you have to take 40 years and take each year. And then you have to take each year and break it down by 12 months. Then you have to take the 12 months and break them down by 4 weeks. And then 30 days. And how many minutes? And I think when you start looking at Hosen's time here in that granular aspect, that's how you built what we have, that bright light called Hosen and the Zen Center. That light doesn't just appear, right? And the stars in the sky, they don't just appear. And they're there. And even when they're not there, being light years away from us, they're still shining. And I think in another 140 years from now, when Hosen is no longer here, that light will still shine, because the remnants of her work, the remnants of her impression, the remnants of her footprint that she's made here will continue to shine. So I think it's that kind of impression that she has made on this valley that, long after she's gone, that light will continue to shine because she has touched so many people in so many places in such a powerful way. Both the Pueblo and the Bodhi have signs up. And people take the signs sometimes, I think, out of context that that people are not welcome, that we're closed to outsiders, and nothing can be farther from the truth. That if people are respectful, and I think they make the correct approach, that once they get past the sign and they get off the highway and they get into the Pueblo of Jemez or they get into the Bodhi, they're amazing places of warmth and resource and giving and support and healing and refuge and food, So I think it goes to those, I think, who are willing to get past the sign and get past themselves sometime and get out of their normal path and take the detour. And I think that just justifies and signifies the kind of life journey that we have, that sometimes if you have the courage to take a right or a left and get off your path and stop, that you're going to find amazing resource, warmth, generosity, healing, and those kinds of things. So I think that we share that. The Pueblo of Jemez and Bodhi, I think we share that. And the sign, I think, is not unintended, deterrent. It really is intended to let people know these are special and sacred places. And for those who venture off of their path, can receive amazing gifts. And we're so happy to share that attribute with Hosen and her leadership. And I don't think that the Creator makes many Hosens. I really don't. I think that when you look at who she is and see how special she is not a resource for this little tiny valley. She's a resource to our planet. Again, not just for the humans, to the winged, the fin, the four-legged, the entities, the plants, the cosmos, the rivers. I mean, everything that she communicates with on a daily basis, she makes it better. She makes me better. She makes us better. She makes the planet better. I'm so happy to have known her. I'm so happy to call her friend. And I just, she makes me better.